What's going on, everybody? It's your boy C-Zar, and we are talking about Bitcoin today, BTC, USD. It is the 23rd day of January, the 23rd already, man. Here we are at about $88,000, $88,800 with 9 hours left in the day. Hit that like button, subscribe. Thank you all for being here, and let's get into it, okay? First and foremost, again, I do not believe that what we're seeing here is a breakout. I don't believe that's what this is. It's the same thing as back here. It's literally the same exact thing, right? Whenever we were here, we press play, we let it play out. Oh no, we're breaking out, guys. Look, we're breaking out. It's a bear flag. This consolidation phase is clearly breaking, and it's clearly not breaking. I'm being facetious. You're breaking out here, and the level of volume you have is just pathetic. It's absolutely pathetic. That's why here on this day I was screaming from the top of my lungs, we're not in a bear market. This is not a bear flag. We are not going to go down too much lower. This is a false breakout. We're probably going to return to the upside. Meanwhile, everybody else was saying, bear flag, bear flag. This means we're going below 70K. We're probably going to go down to 60K or lower. That's what everybody was convinced there and screaming from the top of their lungs, this bearish narrative, this bearish rhetoric, even though all we had was a higher low. It was a technical higher low. We keep going. You went a little bit lower, sure. Sideways, sideways, and then up, right? Now, we're doing the same thing, but from a more developed pattern, right? And, you guessed it, from a higher low still, right? Yes. It's a lower low than this low. Just like this low was lower than this low. Yes. But it's a higher low. Higher low. It's a higher low all throughout. You take out these insignificant lows, these ones that don't count right here, it's higher lows all the way through. And you've got the same people now telling you it's a bear market. We're in a bear flag. We're breaking out of this bear flag. When we broke out back here, we were not impressed because the breakout volume was minuscule. It was absolutely minimal, right? Let's even put it up to where it was growing right here. This was still very low volume, right? Again, I invite you to remember when we broke out here in this very small range, when we broke out, the level of volume that ensued, right? Right? When we broke out here to the upside, look at the volume. It's not there. Oh, so fake breakout, right? Same kind of idea, even to the upside. So we're breaking out here now. Let's see. We'll put that line right at the same level of volume that we had at its peak. Really, at the breakout point, the volume that we had was probably closer to like this. But whatever, we'll put it where it is at its peak. That still wasn't enough to break you out, right? We take this. We're trying to take this here, and you can see clearly that now this range is just a little bit bigger and we're breaking out of it to the downside, right? You can see with your eyeballs we are breaking to the downside. And typically, not financial advice, not a financial advisor, there's plenty of moments where Bitcoin breaks these trend lines, it finds support, and then it moves up instantly. There's plenty of times where you break this trend line and that's a signal of lower lows to come. It's not always perfect. But here, we're breaking out just like we did last time, and the amount of volume that we're seeing on the breakout is the exact same. It's technically even less. It's technically even less because throughout this whole process, the volume that we've received is this. Look at how low this volume is here. You only had 2 days consistently where it was good volume, and one of those days was buying volume. It's clear buying pressure there. The track stopped, dead stop right at a higher low. You actually came up by the end of the day. That was a lot of volume. Look at the lack in volume. Look at the absolute lack in volume here, yet how big of a day you had here, and this is your breakout day. It doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense. So I'm making the same call here. I can be wrong. I've been wrong before. I'll be wrong again. But I'm making the same call with just as much confidence here that we made, which is we're not breaking out. This is a fake out. This is a false breakout. We're not breaking out of a bear flag. We're not in a bear flag. I don't think that's what this is. I think we're in a horizontal channel instead. And we've got a little tilt to it, whatever. Maybe it's just a channel upwards, whatever it is. It could be like a bear flag, I guess, with it being a channel upwards, but it's not a bear flag. We're not breaking out to the downside. If we're breaking out, this is a fake out because that's not enough volume to break out, and the breakout's not breaking. It's like as soon as we broke out, we got stopped in our tracks, and we had more volume on this day than we did on the biggest day to the downside that we've seen. The biggest day to the downside or the upside that we've seen in like this whole range. This day was bigger, one of the biggest. It was like top 3 biggest days, and yet you had more volume than most of these days here. You're breaking out. You're not going anywhere. It doesn't make any sense. Sorry, you do have more volume than most of these days, but you still have pretty low volume to represent this move, right? We had more volume here on a move that was basically just as big up, and that wasn't even enough. We were breaking out with volume here, and that wasn't even enough to keep you going. What makes you think this is going to be enough to keep you going to the downside? I don't have a lot of optimism for the bears or pessimism for these markets, as you can see. If we look at coin market cap, let's see if I'm alone in that. Yep, not alone, but certainly part of the minority, right? We are in levels of fear right now. And historically, in levels of fear and extreme fear, especially whenever we've been here for months, right? We've been here in levels of fear and extreme fear for months. This is typically where you bottom out. This is typically where you find your lows. And for a long time, throughout this whole range, I was saying that we would not break out until the 20th of January at the earliest, potentially sometime in the beginning of February. So this moving sideways, doing all this, being volatile, being exactly where we've been, just right in the heart of this zone, this is just the same price action. But clearly we're moving up. I think that after this is over, we're going to have the actual breakout to the upside. And again, my overall theory here is that this is just one giant kind of like BART, where you're going to move up, you move down, you move up, you move down, you move sideways, you move up. And when we move up, we're going to move faster, I think, than we move down. Mark my words. From this high to this high, it took you 25 days. Whenever we make the move to reclaim it, whenever we actually make that move, I'm not taking the high to the low. We could probably take that too. I wouldn't be surprised if when we make our move up, we reclaim new all-time highs faster than we did this move as well. But specifically just this move here, where we actually had the onslaught happen to the downside, not the slip, but the actual move here, that took 25 days. I theorize that when we start this move up, which maybe it's today, maybe we started it 2 days ago, I don't know, but whenever we start this move up, it will take less than 25 days. So assuming that we start this move, quote unquote, 2 days ago, that would imply then that by the 15th of February, by the halfway point of February, a little bit over the halfway point of February there, we should be back up above 110K. In other words, the expectation here is the same that it's been since the 21st of November, is that we will likely be pushing back to prices above 110K in the month of February. That's been the call, right? February and March should be really good months. There's a lot of things that are happening in Q1, and February and March are definitely going to be exciting. Do we have, when's the FOMC meeting? When is the next FOMC? Is it on the 27th? 25th, soon enough. And we're not expecting any rate changes. That's fine, whatever. That is totally fine. We look at the short-term stuff, we look at the 1 hour time frame here, and the the MACD is probably useless. You're just moving sideways and choppy, so useless. The stochastics will be useless as well. RSI probably loses its luster as use goes. All very neutral indications. I mean, kind of bearish here, but you're pretty neutral here, and you're at the bottom of a zone, so neutral and bearish is kind of the flavor of the moment right now. 4 hour time frame, we look at this here, and the RSI is still bearish, I would say. consolidating at the 40 a little bit. I don't know how to feel about this. I would go again and say neutral but bearish. You could come down, and if you came down, you saw a higher low in your RSI, you probably do get a lower low here. I wouldn't be surprised. I wouldn't be fearful either. I mean, maybe we do go below 86.5K. Maybe we do sweep these lows, but we're not going to take out that low. Whatever the case may be, if we get a lower close than this here, we're going to have a higher low here in the RSI. We'll have bullish divergence, right? Stochastics rejecting the overbought, and that's not bullish. The MACD overall is in a bearish position. I could see us moving lower. We're at about 89K right now. Bitcoin very well could doesn't mean it will. I'm not making the call for this, but it could go below 87K and still prevail victorious. I'm not necessarily calling for that, but what I am calling for, being here at about 89K right now, I wouldn't be surprised if we did go, back around 88K or lower. I wouldn't be surprised if we got a low close below this low here. We don't need to. That is kind of the call. It's a vague call, but basically a close here, not too far away from this low. Maybe below these lows, but probably not below these lows. Something in this general vicinity. We're going to get a 4-hour close, and then that'll be the mark that we need to move up. Okay. All in all, though, we're basically in this range. When I'm calling for us to go down, I don't expect that we're going to leave this range. I expect when we leave this range, it will be to the upside. And if I'm wrong and we don't go down first and we just move up, cool, whatever. That's the main point anyways. We're going to move up from here, not down. Not like a tragic amount down. At least that's my expectation. Daily time frame here. Man, this video will age like sour milk, and I will look very silly if in like 3 days we're just at like 85K, 80K. I don't know, at 85K, I guess there's still hope, to be completely fair. It'd have to be like, we'd have to be below 81K for me to start really freaking out, actually. Even then, because Bitcoin, in all these little sideways ranges, it gives you a lower low. It gave you a lower low here. You know what I mean? You got a higher low here as well, but for how long you held support here, it's like right as soon as you got that lower low, right as soon as you got it, those were bouncing points. So, and it's been doing this, right? You move sideways, finally you get the lower low, and then you move up, right? You're moving sideways here, finally you get the lower low, and then you move up. It's how it's been. So even if we had a slightly lower low, that's not a problem. I don't know. We're in this kind of weird situation where I will literally die believing that we are bullish, and I will die on this hill of being in a bull market, even if we did see a lower low. But I don't think that's what's going to happen. I'm not talking about that because I think it's going to happen. I'm not talking about that because that's a call. I'm just talking about that because I can be wrong. I've been wrong before. I'll be wrong again. It's inevitable. But I'm not making the calls to the upside here because I think I'm going to be wrong. Anyways, getting away from the shenanigans, talking more about the TA, getting into it here. Daily time frame, the RSI has reset itself, right? We're back down at the oversold zone. The same area that we were on this last low here, this last higher low that we had, we're literally at the exact same areas in the RSI. And then the stochastics here are just below the oversold zone, or we're in the oversold zone right now, but it looks like you want to come out of the oversold zone. That's nice. The MACD has crossed above the zero, coming back down to the zero to find support. I mean, these indicators, the RSI is technically in a more bullish position than a bearish position as long as you hold support here and you don't get oversold. The stochastics are reset, right? I mean, if we look at here, being oversold, compare it to the last few times that we've been oversold, right? I mean, were all of these moments lows that we went to new all-time highs from? No. But it was a low point here, and we moved up. This was a higher low point here, and we moved up. This here, back over here, was a low point. We went from 103,000 all the way up to 116,000. You know, here we went from 108,000 all the way up to 126,000, new all-time highs. These low points do coincide with being oversold in the stochastics, and a lot of our low points throughout this whole range since July and even before then has lined up with the exact area that we are in the RSI now. We literally have the exact same reading here with the MACD whenever we went from 108,000 to 126,000 in like a week. Whenever Bitcoin basically made a 20K move in a week, an 18K move in a week, We have the same indicators here as we do here. Does that mean that we're going to get the same result? No. No. But again, you were oversold here. Your MACD was bouncing off the zero here. Look at what you did. You went from 112K all the way up to 124K. And again, does that mean that from here that Bitcoin moves up and that means, oh, we're victorious, we're going to new all-time highs? No, it just means we're likely not going to continue going down from here. It's all a play, it's all a puzzle piece. We're putting it all together, right? If we're not going to go down from here, we're going to move up. Okay, so we know that we're not as bearish as people are saying right now. We're at least going to move up, at least get a lower high. But then we look at the context, we look at everything else, getting overbought, not getting oversold, being reset here, coming up, crossing above the zero. We're probably going to continue, and we probably will get a higher high. Oftentimes, these indications imply directly that we will see a new all-time high, or a new high, a new relative high. We're in the same range. We're in the same range we've been in since November 17th. It's actually extremely common to go from your 382 to your 236 for support and then your golden ratio zone. It's a little sloppy, granted, it is a little bit sloppy here, but I do still expect heavily that the next target area when we move up will be somewhere around $106.3 to $110,000. That's the expectation. That's been the expectation for a while now. Probably since about like here, we've been expecting that when we break out of this zone, we are going to the golden ratio zone. Maybe we go to the 786, 886. It is possible. But I'd say that's like 20% likely. This is like 80% likely. This is 0% chance. No, it's not 0% chance. It's, I don't know what the percentage chance is. It's probably actually a lot higher than that. There is a solid chance that we could go down. I'm just not banking on that. I'm not playing off of that. To me, what it looks like in the charts is that the statistical probability is greater that we will move up than it is that we will move down. But I digress. I've got nothing else for you guys. I hope you enjoyed the video, and if you did, hit the like button, subscribe. Thank you all for being here. I'll see you on the next one, okay? Take care of yourselves. Bye-bye.